Yes, welcome. This is F a Rap Critic. It's a special edition. I'm your boy Malik 16, and no, we're not Max anymore. We've settled down in life, but I'm here joined by a super duper special guest for this super duper special episode. We just hit 1K on the channel, so I want to thank all of y'all who subscribed, everybody who stayed here rocking out with us. This is monumental. This is a big deal. This has been in the works for a long time, man. Listen, I'm gonna let him introduce himself, then I'm gonna tell you more about him. Who you be?
Right on, man. I'm Eli. I'm just a Bay native that love music. That's right. Before I'm gonna give a preamble to the topic because I'm a big Magmar fan, but this is not my favorite album. So before I even get into my harsh criticism, I say Immaculate is one of my favorite albums of all time, Bay and beyond. So definitely want to throw that out there early on. But this is still a Bay classic without a doubt. So we're gonna cover that and
right. So I had to get the Bay native in here. This is my homie from way back. We went to college together. Listen, he's the creator and builder of the Rap Ruler website.
Oh, right on. Yeah, that too. Yeah.
If y'all have not visited, take a moment to go right now to the Rap Ruler, where you can leave your ratings on all the albums that we've reviewed so far, including this one when it becomes available. Mm-hmm. But this is the reason, this man right here is the reason we even have the Rap Ruler, because when I started the channel, it was just going to be a channel and a book. Book has yet to come. But he's like, man, think bigger. He's like,
let's grow this, man. It's a beautiful space, and definitely, I like making, bringing digital platforms to fruition. So this is a cool opportunity to see, people express themselves on a, in criticism and music, basically as a rap critic, and fuck them, but at the same time, we all really like to speak on how we feel about music and general artistry. Yeah. So
and this man builds everything.
Yeah, man, it definitely have grown from early days party promotions, and that never really made enough money, so I figured out how to program and bang on keyboards that put together code and do software development things.
Yeah, it's all my nerds there. If we were X-Men, he's Forge, man. Build anything.
Oh, right on, man. Yeah, definitely. But I do it to music all day long, non-stop. I might be one of the top listeners on Spotify, and I also have a whole music listening platform as well called Track Authority Music that is its own little passion project, and I've yet to really push. But nevertheless, listen to a lot of music as I sit in late nights and days programming. So this is definitely one of those albums.
And this is this is the man that used to have the Immaculate album just like sprawled out across the house.
That's right.
My first person to put me on the Magmar, and a lot of Bay music. And I don't think I've ever given you your credit. You put me
right on, man. Definitely.
Bay music.
Definitely.
And as he mentioned, this is the album we're talking about, Illegal Business, which just turned 30 this year. And we're continuing because it was the choice of Toriano. Shout out to Toriano. It's still birthday season, as you can see. Happy birthday. The Libra closer. I shut it down every year. So we're continuing. This is category 2, where we go over the rap performance on the album. Oh, we should point out the location.
Yeah. This dude is certified and all over the Bay. I think mostly, holds down Vallejo and Oakland, but we out here in Visitation Valley for the most part, Excelsior, HP. But definitely the heart of San Francisco, city of the fog, as you feel. Yeah, and Cal Power's right behind us is definitely one of those stomping grounds. So
we thought we'd switch it up a little, give you a little outdoor. So I told you it's a special episode. And with no further ado, if you have not already, take a moment to like and subscribe to the channel. We'll get into it. The first dimension in category 2 is going to be dimension 1, personality and charisma. How much personality are we getting on this album?
I mean, all day. I mean, dude is authentic. That's the thing about this album, and I mean Magmar at this age too. He's a young 16. Gunner. Yeah, he's a young gunner, man, and you feel it, man. There's definitely a personality of a young Crest Side, gangster, man. That dude that does it thoroughly, and you feel it. I'm not even I've kind of graduated from a lot of my gangster rap music in my rotation. But if I bring it back to my young days, this is definitely one of those albums, and it definitely you feel its emotion, man, for sure.
Yeah, I think Toriano in episode 1 mentioned that he's full of passion.
Yeah,
and I constantly listening to it after remind myself, this is a kid.
Yeah,
this is a kid, and
young
he's
man,
bursting with personality. So much so that like Tupac sought him out. He's you up next, because you're hearing like a weathered kind of an experienced kind of feel from this kid. Like, you forget he's a kid. Like, if you didn't know he's a kid, you're not gonna hear that in the music.
Right.
It sounds like a seasoned dude in the streets.
Yeah, pimping and all that.
And like meaning everything he's saying. Like, if he's like,
not question that at all.
F a trick, I ain't got time for it. You feel like he means that. If he's saying, I'm trying to make this money, you feel like, okay, yeah, he's out there trying to make this money.
Sure.
Could it have been anybody? Is it a personality that's super distinct? That's where it gets a little wonky. Like, he sounds very much like a lot of the other street rappers ever and of the time.
I mean, if you isolate it like that, but I think that definitely the dude is unique in his personality. But that's because I'm like, just coming from the Bay Area, it's like just being that it's so much closer to home. I felt like he's definitely, unique, really, because he's from here. And I mean, and just had a harder style than a lot of them, but without necessarily going into the whole like gore rap of like the sack and all that, but just sort of like just keeping it really, really, just thugged out, but articulate. Yeah. And so, I mean, I'd say, he's definitely had his, I'm gonna give him a 5 just because, I don't think he fucks around, and I don't want.
There you go. You don't want to ruffle up that. We can't be scared on rap.
Nah, I'm kidding. Nah, for sure.
Shout out to Mac. I reached out to him for the episode, and I know he's been talking about the album a lot this year for the 30th.
True.
Sounds like we already jumped to the rating, so that's a 5 on this first dimension.
I think, as personality, man, you can't take that from him. Definitely had a lot of that, for sure.
Something for y'all to consider on a scale from 1 to 5 heartbeats. That takes us to dimension 2, suspension of disbelief versus believability.
Okay.
Now, you started off saying authentic, right?
Right.
So, suspension of disbelief usually comes into play when a rapper makes it clear that they're assuming a character, they're assuming a role.
Oh, I see.
Mac doesn't do that on here.
Yeah.
The assumption is that you believe. Responsible rappers kind of give you that, you know what you're getting. When
right.
RZA as Bobby Digital, right?
Right.
Most rappers do not. They're like, this is me, nigga, and I'm
right.
They speak after the end of the verses, so it's real. So we're left to assume on this album that he's Mac Mo the whole time. He's telling you, this is me, I'm from the Crest. He's telling you the street he's from, Sawyer Street, Vallejo, and this is me all day.
Yeah.
Now this is where him being 15, 16 comes into account. He's running with the romper gang. Whether he's doing because by this time Mac Dre is locked up from running with the romper gang. So the cops, they know about them. I don't know if the romper gang is still active at this point, or just like representing the crew. He's got his own division of that, the faculty, right? The Sesame Street crew.
Yeah.
Is he doing these crimes at 15, 16? I read, in his interviews about the album, he said he had to get permission from his parents to even do this. So, I bring this up every time we're faced with this kind of conundrum with these albums, these gangster albums made by these rappers who are obviously like straight out of high school or high school age. It's like, there has to be some suspension of disbelief, even if the rapper isn't presenting that to you.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know what Vallejo was like in 1993. It might have been a Wild Wild West out there.
Damn, yeah, for sure. Even my pops would say Vallejo is the place where you go to get your ass kicked. And now he's 83 now, so.
Right.
I mean, I think definitely, it's funny because I think that if you just listen to this now, or you just checking out Mac Mall, you hear his later stuff, he's so much different as a not only as a lyricist, he's just so much different that, going back, that almost might seem like a character of some sort, but nah, at 16, I'm sure that dude was thugging it out as
Right.
hard as he could. You know, he's trying to make a name for himself, and at that time, like, you know, this is the 90s.
Mhm.
You know, he's not holding nothing back, and I'm sure it was as you know, everything he's saying and more. So
Maybe not everything, right? So I think he's
All right.
from the school of exaggeration because he's
Okay,
talking about
okay.
straight up murder.
Yeah, okay,
and
right.
drive-bys and shootouts on it. But
on it, right?
and-
True.
and again, you know, this is a kid. His parents are like, "Well, you got to finish school before we let you do this contract." And he wound up like breaking that deal anyway. He got his parents to sign, and he did what he wanted to anyway. I don't doubt that Mac was in the streets. It's just most rappers just take their street experience and exaggerate it. And
Yeah.
he's doing a lot of that in the form of stories, like Cold Sweat, Illegal Business. Then you kind of have to suspend your disbelief and realize, okay, this is a hypothetical exaggeration of probably some stuff he's experienced, right? In Illegal Business, he even has a line where he's like, we at the bottom tier, this we just started, we doing hand to hand, I gotta find a way to make more money on these streets. So it's interesting. You know, Toriano said this is an educational album. That threw me for a loop because I'm like, is it, or is it just standard gangster rap? So to make it simpler, this dimension is always mostly about how much does the rapper make us believe them on this album. So if we take all the stuff that we know out, right? 15, 16, you have to get permission. Then if I'm just listening to this, like you said, brand new to this music, I just heard it, I believe it. Except for maybe the murder stories. It's like, okay, that's a bit much.
I mean, I think that, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say, to me, all I need to know is, you know, is it possible? Is it potential? Is just, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
how far, like, this is not a dude you want to fuck with. And he's making that known. And I think that just by the circle of people he fucked with, I think like every rapper, you know, you look at NWA, the same story. Like, they're not all gangsters. You got one. And they run around with a bunch of gangsters. And like, generally speaking, if you're that intelligent as an artist, you know, I mean, most likely you're representing for the people around you. And so there's a almost a responsibility to tell their story, because they're the ones, you know, keeping you certified as an artist and as, you know, and everything you're talking about. I mean, you know, I think it's just sort of a negotiation of just of rap in general from the streets. If you know,
It's a great word.
you know what I mean?
I just wish more rappers did that. I wish they were like, hey, I'm telling the story of my
My-
partners, right?
Yeah, right.
But I think something you mentioned in Dimension 1, the hardness makes it believable. Like,
yeah, right.
everything about how he's presenting it. So on a scale from 1 to 5, what you're giving is for believability?
He's got a couple storytelling tracks that do sound pretty
Young in the game.
young in the game.
Illegal Business.
Yep.
Cold Sweat.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Cold Sweat is a real paranoid. He wakes up and is singing his time.
Well, but that's all up in his head, right?
Okay,
Okay, fair enough. Right.
Like, we
That's the
get
story.
into that ghetto.
All right,
level.
4. All right, I'm far. 4, man.
So we give that a 4. That takes us to
Definitely.
Dimension 3.
Uh-huh.
The delivery and the use of voice. One thing, you know, when I was listening to this with my girl, I asked her, I was like, man, does he sound like a kid? I don't know if Kyrie did some modulation to his voice, but there's nothing about his tone, his projection, that says I am a teenager.
Yeah, right. Now he's not even talking about it. He sounds like he's a you know, a veteran pimp that is like that is 28. You know what I'm saying? He's been through it. He's got a whole string of hoes. He's gangbanging. He's robbing banks. He's blowing up cities. You know what I mean? Like, he goes through. It is so exaggerated. I don't question you know.
Even young Ice Cube and Ren sounded young. You know, there was a higher pitch. Mac Mo comes out sounding like a 25-year-old.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if that.
True.
Yo, props.
Yeah, he's got a good voice.
You are old before your time. You're an old soul, but there's a powerful voice.
It is a powerful voice he's got.
When you think of a song like I Got to Have It.
My opinion. Yeah.
Well, in my opinion, they play with the voice. So let's talk about.
Okay, fair enough. Right.
That's the one track where they really do like effects on the voice. They're doing that like Parliament Funkadelic.
It's got that. Yeah.
Even the in between talk, they're like, "Yo, Mac, boy, you on that?" You know, which was very popular. In early
Right.
90s,
There was a lot of
Funkadelic inspired stuff, right? But like, it was an interesting choice to do that for the entire song. But all throughout, I think the lightest his voice sounds is on Illegal Business and Ghetto Demon. Interestingly enough, he comes out, his voice is full, There's a lot of push to it. It's powerful. There's a definite Vallejo accent there.
You're right.
The twang is there.
Yeah.
The way you say man.
I like his voice a lot. Frankly, the worst thing, because I'm gonna probably rank this whole dimension pretty well. You know, and I said from the jump, it's not my favorite album. It's more on the production side that I was, you know, I'm gonna start holding back a little bit. Right now, his voice, you know, it's
the way he uses his voice, not judging his voice. Like,
no, I get you. Right.
Well,
he doesn't. I mean, it's definitely not like DMX. You know, he's not changing it up constantly on some like, you know, he's not dilating up and, you know, doing a lot of this, like, or even E40, who would definitely like plays a lot with his voice in that way.
But he has enough control of it to know to go a little smoother on the slower beats.
Okay.
Like Versatile or Sick With It. He's pimp shit. He's you know, he smooths it out. But on tracks, like I said, I Got to Have It.
Right. He's coming a little harder.
40, Crack 40. He's pushing. He's pushing it out. You Don't Want to See Me. Which I think
4.5.
The 4.5. To be that young and just have that much mastery in your voice, because I'm thinking about teenage rappers. That's usually our first time in the studio when we're cutting our first record.
Okay.
And you're getting used to the sound of your voice. Remember when I was recording tracks in your little setup? We had the little pop microphone, you know, like, and I was like, this is how I sound. And my voice was like super high pitch. Higher than my talking voice, because you have to get used to it. So Mac had an amazing mastery of his voice at a young age, and shout out to the team for knowing how to put it in. He knew how to pair it with beats.
Right.
The timing is always there. He's never offbeat.
Definitely like flow is on point with that. Yeah,
we'll get into flow in a minute. Yeah, right. Something for y'all to consider on a scale from 1 to 5 heartbeats that takes us to dimension 4, the flow. He's flowing on it.
Oh man, I mean, gotta say that's probably the biggest part of his career that I've definitely been a fan of. The different songs. I mean, Sick With This is way different than you know, Crack the 40 and what's and the way that changes that song. He changes. I love the piano in that song, and then the way it changes up all together about halfway through. You know, his flow is really, you know, he spits like one way and then another. Yeah,
to the effect that I was talking about, how he like matches his delivery with the tempo of the beat. That's where you're gonna get the most versatile. He's got a track called Versatile. I'll give him points that he is versatile enough to rap straightforward, you know, on the slower song. Right. And then speed it up. He's able to speed it up. It reminds me, you know, I said in video 1 that he kind of has the same cadence as Tupac, just different voices. Tupac has more from the belly, and I think Mac is more of a from the chest rapper. Okay. And because I'm thinking about when he does that, the slow pick, the little quick pickup, and he's like, I'm thinking about the fact that he's able to do that, but still rap like. Most rappers, especially in the early 90s, they're gonna give you one rap style for the whole album.
You know, I'm thinking about choruses and like how does every song have a chorus? Yeah. Does every song have a chorus? See,
he's got different choruses.
And that's what tells me why. That's what tells me his flow is really sick. You know, I think that because I don't even know half the choruses, just that he's be busting through the whole thing. And I mean, obviously, Sick With This, you know, I know that one.
He's got those I call them Tupac hooks, where all you're doing is repeating the title for the track. Right. I Got to Have It. He doesn't do anything on that. Right. But he has hooks like My Opinion, which is the same flow pattern as the verses, but that he doesn't do that flow anywhere else on the album. So that's diversity right there. Cold Sweat, he keeps the same flow for the whole song, which is amazing, even when the beat switches up. Sometimes you think that's easy, but it's harder to write a whole song in the same pattern for verses. On the end of Money on the Deck is the most creative hook to me. He switches up for the final verse and does this reggae inspired flow at the end. So on the third verse, he does this little reggae. So he does enough. Pimp shit, he approaches that differently. Out of 15 tracks, you're going to get at least 8 different flows.
Yeah.
Which is better than a lot of rappers can do.
For me, yeah. I mean, I think in general, it's also I'm a fan of that flow and the way that, you know, it doesn't sound like it's all just a hook. You know what I mean? It sounds like he's really busting verses, and the hooks come in just to keep you engaged, and right. but it's he's flowing through it. 5.
And then the few guests that he only has guests on the one song rapping with him. So Ray Love raps differently than Kyrie. I really want to give props to Kyrie for the flow he uses, because it's I don't even know who to compare him to, but he's doing like this. Like, respect for him becoming different than Mac Dre on that track, and then Mac Mall is allowed to be like the beast to close it out. Because he's just like he's doing more of a staccato flow. So you can, what'd you say for this?
I say a 5, man. I'm gonna say 5 again.
Okay.
I'm a fan.
Something for y'all to consider on the scale from 1 to 5 that takes us to dimension 5, the wordplay and the bar intent. Now, I was thinking
hard, man. These thorough, man. I'm this thorough.
He has some lines. He's on Sick With This. He has a little cute line where he's like, church girls thinking I'm the devil.
Me, I got the church thinking that's the devil. Me, it ain't no fool. Get dope when I'm picking you up on the sofa, legs all open like a TV antenna. Nigga, cry when I'm going up in it. What really going on when you leave home? Love that.
And then
I should have picked out a few of these. He's got a couple. I see what you're saying.
I mean, he's got some clever stuff. There's a slick line on Versatile. He takes a little shot, and I've heard this from other people outside the New York region. So Bun B, in an interview a few years back, he had said they were asking about new rap and why the OGs, the old heads, complain about new rap. And he mentioned that we let y'all have Blue Cheese back in the day by the UMCs, which they've gone on to say there's a song about nothing, right? It's one of those hip hop songs in the early 90s where you can just have fun and be about nothing. So Mac Mall says something on Versatile like, I ain't got no time to be rapping about Blue Cheese, because this is a street album. This is a I Need Money album. This money and pimping is the main theme here, legal business, right? So there's slick moments like that, but that's the extent of wordplay. You're not getting a lot of similes. They're going to be very elementary. They're going to be...
He's 16.
Yeah, right.
With that. That's not his point. Yeah.
On the third verse of my favorite song, It's All Good, he does the whole verse in the Isno, Kizzo, Flizzo. That's right when that was becoming a popular thing on the West Coast. Like Snoop's album came out the same year, and that's the first time you're hearing that Dizzo, the Fizzo, the Dizank, and the Shiznit and titles like that. So for him to do that whole verse like that, I think he's the only rapper I recall doing that with the same kind of control. So I do want to give him props for that on the wordplay, because I mean, he flipped it. I'm gonna put that verse up so y'all can read it, but he knows what he's doing. So the bar intent is there. There's not a lot of lyrical gymnastics done here, but it's clear. One thing that is made clear, I think you pointed this out earlier, for street rappers, he is lyrical. He's one of the most lyrical street rappers of that era.
Right. So especially as he matures and later albums we're not talking about right now, definitely,
and for
shows how much he can flex that.
For the Bay in general, he's up there with like how the Loonies were when they first came out, where they would spit. Spice One, right? As opposed to more stylistic rappers like a Too Short. That's more style.
Right.
Style over, Drew Down.
Mm-hmm.
So
true.
Something to consider on a scale from 1 to 5. What are you giving this for wordplay? And keep in mind, if you give this putting them up there with like Nas.
No. Actually, I don't even think he can take a lot of credit for it himself, man. I would not give him anything. I mean, I'll give him, because he's a great rapper, I'll give him a 2 or a 3. Wordplay is not what this is about.
Let's say 2.5.
Just I mean, he 2.5.
All right. 2.5. That takes us to dimension 6. Piggybacking off of that, the quotability. That's either the poetic wisdom or the punchlines, or both. Only very few rappers are able to give you both. Most are like one or the other. So the way I break this down, your punchline rappers like your Big Daddy Kane, Fab, Lloyd Banks. Your poetic wisdom of Tupac, Nipsey, Scarface. They kind of giving you stuff that you can put on a t-shirt, like words to live by, thought-provoking stuff, right? Not a punchline rapper.
Yeah, right.
This is also early 90s where punchlines were just beginning to become a thing in the rap world. Do we get a lot of poetic wisdom on this album?
Not at all. And again, I started, from the jump. He gets there eventually in his career, but not on this album at all. And I wouldn't say anything. I can't quote other than "Sick with This." My opinion. I don't think that I can say anything. Yeah. I can't quote like off the top of my head. Now, with that said, damn near every song you play, I could start rapping along with it. I just can't. I can't quote anything off the top of my head.
Right.
Might be because
the closest to punchlines are like what we pointed out with the, the church girl.
The devil line. Be right. Yeah.
On Money on the Dank, he says, I hang with my crew, because even Cool had a gang.
Yeah, right.
Cute lines at most. Now, poetic wisdom, you're probably gonna get it on the deeper songs. So like on songs like My Opinion or Ghetto Theme, Young Players Gotta Get It Together. You're gonna get these nuggets of understanding that Mac Moore does have some kind of perspective. There's more out here than the street life, right? Or even when he's talking about the condition, I pointed out a line where he's like, my scales were never balanced, that's why I'm living scandalous. Then he says something like, on I Got to Have It, he said, you got to get paid in this age because you can't flip a Benz on a minimum wage. Kind of just common man logic. Like, it don't take deep thought to put that together, but saying it on track makes it pointed, right? But he's not giving you a lot of profundity. So yeah, that's about as far as you're getting with poetic wisdom and punchlines. So overall quotability, you said you couldn't quote much from this album.
Yeah, it's gonna be the same, about 2.5. I mean, and again, taking nothing from him or the album, I just don't think that was the objective.
Got you. Yeah. Something for y'all to consider on a scale from 1 to 5. That takes us to, are we getting into the C's now? Dimension 7, the concepts. All right. Now, every great album has concepts on it, something that makes you have to listen with a little bit more intent than a regular song. So, as opposed to a song like You Don't Want to See Me, where it's just straight bragging, he's kind of remaking Too Hard for the Radio. Mm-hmm. Or I Got to Have It is just like a up-tempo, I'm spitting. He's got songs on here where you have to kind of see where he's going. So we talked about Cold Sweat. Yeah. Cold Sweat is a paranoia track.
Yeah, track, right.
You probably don't get it till after the first verse. You hear another verse, you're like, oh.
He wakes up.
He wakes up each time, right?
Right.
Different scenario. The scenarios get crazier each time he wakes up. Some Ghetto Boys level stuff.
Yeah, right, exactly. Mind playing tricks on me and all that. I think that it's I think that he doesn't do enough. I don't think that he's really out there trying to make a lyrically quotable album. He's trying to get his name out on the streets, trying to put his name, trying to get people's attention. I don't think that at least at the time in the Bay Area, I don't think that lyrically he's really trying to push it that level, or maybe he was trying to, but he's 16.
I give props to any rapper that steps out a little bit, because it's just so easy to make a pedestrian ass album.
Sure.
I'm making money and I'm getting these hoes. The fact that he went and tried to make something a little bit more.
Yeah,
right?
Okay, fair enough. Right.
He does that on. I mean, you could argue Money on the Dank and Crack a 40 like that. He's staying on topic. It's all about beer on one track.
Definitely I'll give him that credit for sure, man. Staying on track.
Yeah.
on topic.
But is it conceptual? No, probably
man,
not.
There's not a lot of,
My opinion is kind of conceptual, because he really is kind of thinking out loud on that whole track, questioning things, and giving his opinion. It winds up being the title of his autobiography.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, he wades in conceptual territory. He doesn't dive in it. He doesn't swim in it. Right. What you giving that on a scale from 1 to 5?
All right. I'd say 3. 3. Okay. It's not
something for y'all to consider on a scale from 1 to 5 heartbeats. That takes us to the content dimensions. I put these together. It's dimension 8. We talk about the external content. You talk about politics, relationships.
Nope.
You don't think so? he makes some statements on the government. Illegal business, he makes some statements on the government, but those are not what the songs are about.
Yeah.
My opinion.
I mean, again, we've mentioned that a couple of times. This is most that is his most creative, like, you know, it's an observation. Yeah. You know, it's just about observations or his opinions.
Same thing with Ghetto Theme, right? He's talking about the hood changing, his neighborhood changing, young people his age, all the violence, which, you know, I always kind of
would still say that's
point
internal.
out after a whole album of killing people, they always got the one song at the end. Young players got to work it out. We got to do better, y'all. Like, what?
Like you spent 15 songs talking about gangbanging here.
But, you know, in the video, you see, like, that's the Tupac directed video. You see the depiction of, you know, young player wanting revenge after somebody shot one of their friends and then choosing peace at the end. So the visuals always help with the rapper put down in audio. You get another idea of what might be going through their head. But I think that's as far as you get him talking about. And I mean, relationships, Sick With It and Pimp Shit, he's talking about women, but in this pimp context.
Yeah, I don't know if that's all external either. Like, I mean, I think generally what he's talking about is all what he's seeing around, like directly, immediately around him.
So then that takes us to Dimension 9, the internal content, which is kind of what you're pointing at. How much do we learn about Mac Mill's life from this album? Do I feel like he's giving you expository stuff here?
Yeah, I mean, I think that he's definitely, and I think that's again, it's one of his, is it his first album?
This is his debut album.
Their first album, right? You know, I mean, if he had tried to start with some sort of like, you know, something way more external, I don't know if you believe him as much when he's coming as hard as he is. So, like, I think that, you know, just keeping it 100% street is, you know, and everything around him immediately makes it that much more believable, and it allows him to grow from there as an artist and start to be a little bit more critical of you know, broader subjects.
Yeah, I mean, everything's kind of blended. The little bit that you do get is going to be blended. He's not really telling you, this is how I grew up. He's sprinkling it here and there. Mm-hmm. Ghetto Theme is going to be the closest you get to, like, in my opinion. Those are the two where you're going to get the most of, like, what Mac Mill's life was like. The rest is whether you believe it or not. Do you believe he's doing a bank heist? Do you believe, you know? But you're getting those pieces. He's telling you about how he saw his neighborhood in Vallejo change on Ghetto Theme. And on my opinion, again, that's what he's giving you. These are both things to consider in both of these dimensions, external and internal. On a scale from 1 to 5, what are you giving external? What are you giving internal?
External, I'm gonna give it 2. Internal, I'm gonna give it 4. You know, I think that he, you know, maybe I think that, yeah, I think a 4. I think that basically, you know, simply put, it's a gangster party album, you know, and it's like, and so it's how gangsters party. It's definitely like it's how
gangsters party. Yeah, that's perfect.
It's definitely a high energy gangster album. Yeah, with some good beats that people want to, you know, kind of move to. It's not gore rap. Right. You know what I mean? But it's definitely, you know, it's trying to keep you moving. But it's definitely the subject of just too gangster to be like to be some sort of, like, you know, critical listening, you know.
Good point.
So here we are.
Right. So that takes us to the final dimension 10, the storytelling. I mentioned in video 1, I think this is his strength out of everything that's done on this album.
This album?
Yeah, this is what he excels at. Because let's think about it. Let's
all right.
Songs on here. Cold Sweat's a story.
Definitely.
Young in the Game is a story song.
Yeah.
Illegal Business itself, the title track, is a story. And then Bank Heist.
That's a solid.
And props to the way they use Bank Heist. The news reports on it. It was so authentic. I feel like they really ripped that from Channel 7 News or something.
Yeah, 40 Live. Except for the fact that they blow up two city blocks. Or is that the other album?
I think that's the other album. Yeah. This is just about the Romper Room gang. And I'm like, that sounds like authentic news footage.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was plenty of it out there at the time. And he kind of breaks down, you know, if self-snitching was a thing back then, he breaks down how they were doing it. He's like, oh, here's what you do. You go to a town. He's like, I think I'm going to a bank in Petaluma where they don't know me. And that's I'm like, Mac clearly has a cinematic mind. Like when you hear legal business from beginning to end, he's talking about setting up shop, trying to expand his business from going to being a corner boy to trying to like take over someone's block, going to get revenge. Now he's pointed out by a fiend that turns state's evidence on him, and his only recourse is to pay off the DA. In my favorite line, he says, "Now I'm sitting back in the court like a Mac watching the DA F up the facts." And then he's like, "My sentence got shortened to 4, but I'm only doing 2. I'll be back on the street to do legal business." Like, what?
Yeah, right.
16-year-old mind thinking like Scorsese.
Yeah, right.
Bank
Intelligent
heist.
dude, no doubt.
Right.
For sure.
Bank heist, he's really kind of breaking down how the romper room gang got down. So, I mean, young in the game is more observational. He's telling the story about these players that are not himself. So he's taking him, it's not a first person narrative, it's third person. And he's just kind of making commentary on how people his age can get caught out. Still street stories. They're all street stories.
Yeah.
But there's 4.
Yeah, he does. And they are articulate. I think that I'll give him a 4. Yeah, I'll give him a 4.
Okay.
You know, I mean, obviously, and that's only because we're putting up against like Outkast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like Rick and Nas, right?
Yeah, right. You know, so definitely 4, man. I do this, and a lot of good music in that album, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's his strong suit. I think that's where he does his best, because again, he's not going for punchlines. He's not going for dropping knowledge or just like crazy wordplay devices. He's giving you stories. He's giving you visuals on a cinematic level, and then you consider his age, his high level.
Yeah.
And so you said 4. With that concludes the Category 2 review of the now 30-year-old album, Illegal Business by the Bay's own Mac Mall. Eli.
Sick with it.
Oh, bro, Eli, thank you for doing this special episode with me. You got, you know what I mean? Shout out to our whole HU crew.
Jay Dizzle.
Yeah, Jay
Scotty G. That's up.
Yeah, like
right T-Most.
We've been wanting to do this episode for a minute.
Steve Mac.
Didn't know this was going to be the album, but it makes sense. Shout out to Steve Mac. And it's just, it's birthday season. Birthday season, I always pick an unconventional classic album. It's like the one time I'm selfish. And so I hope we educated y'all, and y'all go look through Mac Mall's catalog.
Well, educated me right here, man. This man is thorough. I love it. I love this. And check out the app when it comes out real soon.
Yeah, we're trying to get it in the App Store. You got the inventor, the builder. I created the system. He created the mechanism for y'all to have it. We're trying to make it the Rotten Tomatoes of hip hop. So go sign up.
Check it out.
Can you explain to them how the site works?
Check out therappruler.com. You pick any episode, click on play, and then the vote button, and then you'll have 1 to 5 heartbeats, and you'll vote in each category, and you'll actually earn credit for voting that you can then spend in a marketplace of cool gifts and sponsorships from therappruler.com.
Right, and as we get more partners, there'll be more gifts and prizes. You can go cop the I Used to Love It t-shirt. We got more merch on the way. But yeah, you just drag that icon out in each of the dimensions that we talk about, and it goes into an aggregate score. And the more of you who vote, we kind of get an overall rating for the albums. And that's the general gist. It's not about my opinion. It's not about the guest opinion. It's about what more of us collectively put on these albums, so people could be like, oh, on the Rap Ruler, it's an 80% album. It's 49 out of 50. And so that's what it's all about, because we're still in this global hip hop community of people that love this form of music, and we want to have this be the official platform. With that, I know you're a private guy, Eli. Do you want to let the people know how they can find you?
Oh shit!
And what you got working on next?
No need, man. I'm here. I'm out here right here. I guess I do have a couple websites. Check out pickupmvp.com right now. That's the one I'm pushing for the moment. Pick up MVP. You like to play some sports or pick up any kind of ball sport, pickupmvp.com is the way to go. Also in both app stores.
There you go. And on that note,
Peace.
Y'all know what it is. F a Rap Critic. They talk about it while I live it. Word to meth. Peace. Well, bro, we did that. I didn't expect that.
Hey, up there, dirt biking up there. There's some dirt bikes up there.
I hope that's just one guy. Not like
Fuck all that. Let's go, man.